it's cold, and when it's dark, the blazing moon can obsess you. The Miglionico Werewolf.
Yeah, this is the Miglionico Werewolf. In America we'll call this, and basically, like, if you know, like, if you ever seen An American Werewolf in London, a lot of this is basically like whatever. And basically this is, you know, maybe I'll go into another character, basically. You're not going to really notice, but I'll notice. But basically it's like a PTSD, so it'll kind of adapt, like, if you have PTSD, or if you know people that have it, or to try to understand it, kind of like to equate it to something like people know. Not as many people know, like the Prisoner of the Horn Held thing. So basically, you can see this picture. I actually hung this. I had this like in my closet for like I don't know, like 10 years or something, because I wanted to do the video. And you know what I mean. You can see you got the werewolf. It's a Frank Frazetta too. So basically, what I like is, like, here is the person that you are, even though it has a little bit of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of thing. And there's like the monster within, what you've become and stuff, what's happened to you beyond your control. And it's sort of like that internal struggle, I kind of like that sort of aspect of it. And yeah, basically, it's usually something beyond your control, because usually trauma is something you can't really control. It's usually external forces that make the trauma happen. So, An American Werewolf in London, he went on the path that he wasn't supposed to, walking, whatever. They got attacked by the wolf. Out of his hands, they, you know what I mean, when the wolf, whatever, they said it was a deranged lunatic. So basically, he turns into the werewolf, and it's a lot like PTSD, because you could like kind of black out, you might wake up in a weird place or whatever, you know, do some things or whatever. So it's like, but the thing with the werewolf is, it's like, you think you're crazy, you know what I mean, you don't even believe there's something wrong with you. So I mean, who's going to believe that you turn into a werewolf? I mean, you know what I mean? So it's just like, but I think for that, like the American Werewolf in London, I think it's a little bit more like a PTSD thing, because for like shell shock, for like warriors, because you have like a lot of things where like the people that he killed starts talking to him, playing in the dreams and the flashbacks, and he has visions and stuff, and you might actually have that. Like, you know, like for somebody like me, I remember I got stung by a bunch of wasps, like a whole hive, when I was really young. So if I hear anything that buzzes, you know, I get scared, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be too good with things that buzz. And you know, other people might not have a problem with bees and stuff. I see a bee, I see anything that looks like a bee, I'm afraid. So it's like, you know, if you're in battle and you're killing people, it's a little bit different. But yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of traits you could think about, like with the werewolf. Like, when you look at the werewolf, what do you see? You see somebody's hair, they're unkempt, they have an inability, like when you're in a PTSD episode, it can be really difficult to communicate, to articulate shit and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So basically, the thing that I'm trying to get stressed to you is, like, in American Werewolf on London, they're all urging him that he's got to use the silver bullet, basically. You know, they don't need silver bullets in that, but it's basically that he's going to keep going into the werewolves, and he's going to keep taking people, you know, he's going to keep hurting people. So you feel like you're a monster, and you want to keep yourself chained away and isolated from everyone. But that actually tends to make things worse. So it's like, you think you're a monster, you think you're going to hurt someone, you think you're going to lose control, you think you're going to go black out, you think you're going to do something, you know what I mean? Something's going to set you off and stuff. And you know what I mean? It's like you believe that you have to use the silver bullet. If you can finally use the silver bullet, then the curse is over. You won't be the werewolf anymore. You won't be that monster anymore. The person that you once were is dead, and there's just the monster. So you want to destroy the monster, but the only way to destroy the monster is take you out. So you think about using that silver bullet, and you have like these really low points, and something could just trigger you. You have dreams, you have flashbacks and stuff, and you believe that everything, everything will be better if you use that silver bullet. But what you don't understand is, much like the werewolf, how when you attack somebody, then suddenly they turn into the werewolf. Now, say you use that silver bullet on yourself. Now, someone like me, I don't matter. There's really, if I use a silver bullet right now, no one give a fuck. No one's going to miss me. No one's going to cry for me. There's nothing for me. There's no future. There's nothing like that. Well, I didn't even believe I could have a relationship. I think it is possible, but if you can have a relationship, you got to find a girl that doesn't drink, doesn't yell at you, things like that, like kind of understanding. Like, maybe one person I talked to could, but I don't think she has any reason to. You know what I mean? I think she's just being nice because she's just worried. But you know what I mean? Like, I remember, I'm not going to say who it is, but like, I remember when I was in like a really low point, I had this like the surgery, the C5, thing, like, I was just going to like leave her all my money and, you know what I mean, use the silver bullet, as they say, and she got really upset. She wanted no part of that and stuff like that, and I think most people would have just taken the money, but not only that, she stuck with me, like, she didn't block me and shit like that at that point, so it's like, alright, you know what I mean, a lot of just people like block it like the drop of a hat and stuff, so it's like, yeah, so you actually start to believe like you're the werewolf. You're worried you're going to hurt someone. You're worried you're going to do negative things. You might be mean at times. You might think you're mean, and you might say things you wouldn't normally say. Might do things like, I'm not going to get into it, but I've read stuff online. People done some really fucked up shit. I knew exactly. You know what I mean? I understood why they did it. You know what I mean? And then when you do something really bad, it's like the anxiety builds and builds and builds and builds, because you're like, you know, like if you ever tell anyone what you did, they'll just see this. They'll just see you as that. You know what I mean? They'll just see you as the werewolf. And a lot of things with the werewolf is it's like you might become unkempt, your nails might grow long, your hair might grow really long. When you're in the episode, you can't really communicate. So you seem kind of like a monster. You might be like, ah, you know what I mean? You can be very intimidating. People might not realize that. And what I like about this is like this is like the person you once were. You were such a good person and everything. So you mean like maybe you ever get into a car accident, maybe it's you know, maybe it's war, maybe it's something, an injury, an operation, a fall. You mean it's usually something beyond your control. I have a lot of accumulated trauma, so like all sorts of stuff. Like so, like I'll worry about dogs running away because I had a dog run away when I was young, and I blame myself. And you know, like so then like when the months come, I mean maybe the full moon can trigger, but it's like when you get into like that trauma event, you start having like the things become more intense, the dreams, the visions, the feelings, everything like that. It becomes like more intense. So you know what I mean? It becomes like very difficult to, you know what I mean, to function and stuff. And then it's like people abandon you, people just ditch you. You gotta like socialize to survive, but it's like when you're socializing, it just seems to make things worse. There's a lot of people, they just, you know what I mean, they react meanly, they yell at you, they block you, they do this, they do that. It's like it seems like really hopeless, but you know what I mean? But the thing is, the reason, if you use a silver bullet, there's probably people that care about you. You might have family, you might have a girlfriend, you might have a woman, a wife, you might have kids or whatever. So then you can turn them into this werewolf. You start to create the cycle of trauma in them. And it just gets worse and worse and worse until they fully become that, the full moon, and they finally, I mean, they might not take somebody's life literally, but their life is lost. They're no longer even this person anymore. They're basically, look how fearful they are, the werewolf, the wolf, the man, the beast taking over. So I think a good way to think about people is, with PTSD, is you think of them as like a werewolf. So it's like they might change against their will. Things beyond their, you know, might not be a full moon, but something else. And you know what I mean? They might want to use that silver bullet on themselves. And you know what I mean? Like somebody like me, I would consider myself a coward. If I had the guts to use a silver bullet, I wouldn't be a coward. So I don't have anything against people. I don't think they're like unbrave or anything like that. You know what I mean? It takes a lot. It takes a lot to do that. But it's like you believe that you have to use that silver bullet on yourself because you're this. You're no longer that person that you once were, and you think, if I use that silver bullet, everyone will be better off. No one will have to worry about me anymore. You know what I mean? And also, if you don't have any relationships, you're not like with somebody, and you don't have a support system, it's a lot more difficult because you're basically like always in that struggle. And it's not that you're a bad person. You're still the same person you are, but the trauma just gets worse and worse and worse. Like all of a sudden you might start feeling really bad, and there's no idea, you don't know why you're feeling bad. You're just feeling worse and worse and worse. And you lash out at people because you don't want to be around them. So it's like, you know, I think there can be females that can deal with you, but I don't know why they would want to. Like me, I don't think it's ever going to work out for me. Though I really, you know, I know there's people I like. There's one person I think, you know, I could trust, but it's like, why would they bother? Their life's so much easier without you. But on your end, you know, it's be really difficult because you got to worry about moving your stuff, getting your stuff, where you're going to, you know, how that would work. So you know it's like a difficult thing. So it's like, you know, it's not easy even if everybody was on board. So, you know, the best thing I would say is, man, try to hold on as long as you can, the best way you can. You can start struggling, reach out, and if it works out, it works out. But yeah, I mean, this is the Miglionico Werewolf, and hopefully it helps you relate to people, whether you have it or don't have it.